Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Before we dive in, please allow me to give a brief introduction about FitBudd for those of you who might be new here. FitBudd helps you grow your fitness business with the power of your branded app. We also give you a dedicated and customizable website on your own domain. Beyond usual day-to-day operations, our platform is the only tool you'll ever need to seamlessly run your fitness business and build a robust digital brand. We also offer a 30-day free trial. You can schedule your free demo with our expert from the link shared in the chat. Moving on, I'm thrilled to introduce our host, the amazing Sarah Safari. She's a fitness entrepreneur, business coach, and visionary with an impressive history of guiding coaches to their best in health and fitness business. Without further delay, over to you, Sarah. Let's start our webinar.
Hello. All right, guys. So I am going to go ahead and share screen so that we can kind of dive into today's topic. So biggest thing is, and I'm just going to ask you guys a few questions just to get an idea of where you guys are all at. I like to kind of have an idea of where your business is at before we dive into everything. But we're going to, and I think this is actually a really, really important component that a lot of times is underestimated, is that ultimately, if you're in a place where you're trying to grow your business, which typically when I do these webinars, you are, it is so essential that you, as the person who is running the business, who is the person who is growing the business, whether it's you, whether you plan on it to be you and multiple people, you are the reason why the business will grow or not grow. Whether that's skill set, whether that's mindset, and whether that's a combination of both. A lot of it comes from you, the perspective, as well as what you allow yourself to go through in the process of getting there. And so I want to dive into that a little bit today. But before I do, just so I get an idea, which of you guys, just give me a yes in the chat box if you are currently only online as a coach and you plan on staying only online. And then give me a hybrid if you're online and in person. So a yes if you're only online, a hybrid if you're online and in person. Okay, we got a couple hybrids. So far, we're seeing a mix of both. Only in person currently. Okay, cool. Are you planning on changing to online and looking to see how you can do that, just so I get an idea, or online or a hybrid of both? Okay, awesome, cool. Hybrid. Okay, and just so I know, those of you who said hybrid, do you want to stay hybrid or do you want to go online? So just tell me stay hybrid if you want to stay hybrid, and say go online if you want to eventually transition to fully online coaching. Okay. Okay, cool. We had only two hybrids. One of you guys wants to stay, the other one wants to transition, mostly online, but would still want to do some in person. Okay, that's fair, Melanie. Okay, cool. I have a good idea of where you guys are at. Okay, cool. And let me share a screen. It's going to be a little bit busy, so just ignore that. All right. Can you guys all see my screen? Just give me a yes if you can see the screen. Yes. Okay, cool. Awesome. So let's dive in. So first thing here is just building a business around your life, not a life around your business. So this is the whole idea. So, a lot of times you went from going to school to become a expert in your field, whether that's nutrition, it's personal training, combination of different things in that area. And now a lot of times you're expected to sell to grow the business, because a lot of times in order to grow a business, you need to sell. And so when you transition from, okay, here I'm working at this place as an employee, to now I run my own business, you have to wear a lot of hats that you probably initially didn't know that you had to wear. So I just have some examples here. You got the copywriting hat, you have the sales hat, you have the nutritionist hat, you have the movement fitness hat, you have the personal development hat, you have the therapist hat, right? Because a lot of times in coaching, and I did coaching for nearly a decade, a lot of my personal training clients would tell me things that they weren't telling their spouse or significant other or best friends. And you have the team building hat, and there's a million other hats that you're wearing, and at the time you probably didn't know you have to acquire all of these skills. So I know for me, when I first went into entrepreneurship, I was like, holy crap, there's so many things that I have to learn at the same time, and I feel incredibly overwhelmed. And I feel like in order for me to be able to be successful in this business, I have to learn those things. And to some extent that's true. It's just the prioritization of which comes first in order for you to hit the next reachable specific goal. Okay. Just so I know, does that resonate with anyone? Like, okay, I started my own business. Now I have to learn a lot of things to make this business successful. If it's a no, just say no. If it's a yes, just give me a yes. And then I'm going to take a quick look before we continue on. So does this resonate with any of you guys? Oh, I lost my Zoom, guys. Hold on. I'm going to bring it back. Okay, here we are. Yes. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So let's move on. So golden handcuffs. So this is where you're working long hours, you're struggling to bring in the right number of clientele, and you're staying in the 3 Bs. So this is what I call broke, bitter, and burnt out. And so when I started my first business, I had opened a gym. I'm Canadian from Vancouver. And so I had opened a gym, and I, for the first time ever, was making more money than I had ever made before. But at the same time, I had no time at all. So I was waking up at 4 a.m. or sometimes even 3 a.m., heading to the gym and staying there till 8 or 9 p.m. And I had a few times where I actually slept at the gym because there's just no point of going home at that point. And so I was working incredibly long hours. I was struggling to bring in the right number of clientele. I would have phases where I would have tons of clients, phases where it would die out. But the consistency piece was really hard to maintain. At the time, I wasn't broke, but I was bitter and burnt out. And sometimes you have all 3. And that in and of itself is a whole different story. So the whole thought behind today is just building a business by design. So being 100% honest with yourself and like just taking a step back, because sometimes you're in it. Like, okay, what are the things I need to do to get sales? What are the things I need to do to convert more clients? How do I get more leads? How do I get more people who want to work with me instead of me bothering people, right? All of these things that come up, right? The whole goal is, well, let me take a step back from that and see the bigger picture before I dive into the micro vision, because they're both equally important in different ways. Because if you don't see the bigger picture, you might take the wrong path. Right? And that wrong path might lead you to an area that you don't want to be. And that in and of itself leads to a lot of burnout. So some questions that you can ask yourself is like, what is it that I really want? How much money is it that I want to make? How many people do I want to help? How much time do I want to spend working? Right? Like that's important. Like, are you a person who genuinely enjoys working 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day? Or like, does that feel like it sucks? Right? Is that what you want to be doing long term? Because yes, there's a hustle component where you have to put in the work, but you don't always need to do that. And that's the whole point of having your own business, so that you don't become a slave to your work. And what kind of clients do I want to work with? And do I want to be online or offline? I think that one sounds like you guys have the answer to. But just like even screenshot this page, because these are things that you want to ask yourself before you continue going on to the broader vision and becoming micro focused on getting more clients, because that will come, but not in the right way. That won't lead you to burnout if you don't think of these bigger ideas first. So the goal here is, how can we work backwards from what it is that you want to achieve? So if the goal is to hit 6 figures working 20 hours or less online, this means getting 4 $2,000 clients. It means getting 80 $100 clients, or it means getting 5 $1,500 clients. You get to choose the path. However, I'm biased personally towards the path, just because I have been in the industry in a long time, and I know what creates a lot of pain and struggle unless there is some kind of a baseline. So I'm going to be very frank. I am a big believer of the high ticket model for coaching. And that doesn't mean you have to charge extraordinary prices, but it does mean you have to charge higher ticket for a number of reasons, because it's beneficial on both sides. Let me see if so I kind of broke it down here. And so on the low ticket side, it's just as hard to get clients, and it requires a lot of advertising unless you already have a large audience, whether that's on Instagram, whether that's on TikTok, whether that's a massive email list, whether that's a massive Facebook community, some kind of community in some kind of location that already know, likes, and trusts you and will buy relatively right away. Many people just starting out don't have that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to ask, does anyone here have on this webinar have a large community right now that if they had the right tools, they could probably get some clients with that community? So just if you have a large community, give me a yes. If you don't have a large community, give me a no. And I will take a look here. I like the caps though. 30K followers. Okay, cool. So from those 30K followers, like what is, just so I have an idea here. Okay, we got some. We got a few. Okay, that's good for me to know. So from 30K followers, this is really important. Guys, your followers actually doesn't matter. What matters is to what degree are you actually genuinely influencing your followers. So you can have 30K followers and very, very little engagement back and forth, or you can have 30K followers and very high engagement back and forth where there's a strong resonance with your audience. And you don't have to answer this question, but just something for you to think of on your own. And we can have an influence with 500,000 followers who has less of an impact than someone with 30,000 followers. So it really, really depends. So yeah, that's great, Melanie. You have pretty high engagement. That's something that will, if you have the right tools and you just switch them the right way, you can instantly start making cash doing that. But still, at 30,000 or even at 70,000, I saw, given that you have the best engagement in the world, I don't think that running low ticket, at least alone, will foster what the goal is if it's 6 figures and above. If it's kind of like, yeah, I just want enough to be able to sustain myself, a couple $1,000s a month, sure. But if you're looking in the, which many of my clients throughout the years have, is I want to make 6 figures and then I want to make more than that, then you want to focus on the high ticket model and using the low ticket model as a downsell from those who cannot afford it. I would say my engagement is strong, but it isn't consistent and doesn't translate to money. So high ticket is better, plus those clients are consistent. So I would need to look at if it does or doesn't translate to money based on the strategies that you've tried before, and see why they have or haven't potentially worked. So if you have tried to directly do a CTA or a call to action to your audience, and all of a sudden you got no engagement, what is the reason for that, right? There's so many reasons that could be. It could be because maybe what you talk about on a typical day-to-day isn't in resonance with what you're selling. It could be that people are engaging with you for the wrong reasons. It could be so many different things that we need to take a look at. But regardless, high ticket, you can see you need way less volume for way higher results. So let me go back to this share. So on the low ticket, you have the second one requires a lot of advertising. So that's costs. It requires a good brand recognition. And many times, I don't think I have, maybe once or twice, not experienced this, you're going to get lower quality clientele. I'm going to give you guys a quick story on that. But high ticket allows way less volume. It allows higher quality clientele. It allows you the ability to provide a higher service because you have more capital to be able to do that. So if the goal, which hopefully it is to get your clientele results, I'm going to tell you that they will 9 out of 10 times, except the self-sufficient users, get a better result in a high ticket model where they're getting accountability and support and one-on-one attention than if they are just on an app alone with that human touch component that so many people who struggle with results in this area absolutely need to get to that next level. Okay. So that's a huge one. So what I always talk about is at the beginning, one message, one offer, one platform. Keep things simple, right? Instead of I'm going to all of a sudden be on all my platforms at the same time. Again, unless you already have some level of credibility on TikTok and on Instagram and maybe on Facebook, whatever it might be. If not yet, focus first on one message, one offer, one platform. That in and of itself will get you to six figures if you're not there yet. And then from there, okay, let me talk about all these other platforms I want to be on. Let me talk about let me add this other offer as a downsell to this other offer I'm doing. What I notice a lot of times, people too soon, before they're making enough money in the business, start complicating all of the different things that they need in order to take action, and they end up taking very slow action or very messy action, in the sense of really not feeling clear on what they're looking for in and of itself, instead of hyper focused on one narrow path, making that profitable, then adding the next thing, then making that profitable, then adding the next thing. Very, very important. All right. Work hard once by building systems, then let the systems work for you. Okay. So a $2,000 offer requires only 4 clients a month for a $100,000 run rate. Okay. So you want to be able to build a lead generation system. You want to be able to build coaching and nutrition and workout systems. And you want to be able to build accountability, diagnostic follow-up systems. So just give me a yes if you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about when I say this, and give me a no if you do have an idea of what I'm talking about. So just so I have an idea, does this stuff, you're like, oh, I know what that is? Or you're like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about, Sarah. Please expand. No, but def expand. Okay. Okay. Gotcha, guys. Awesome. All right, let's go into this. All right. So the first part is clear in terms of that's just the math of what that would look like. But the idea of this whole webinar is how can we make sure that we're not burning out as we're working? And the way to do that is to be smart about things as you're creating them. So building a lead generation system means, how can I create a reliable way to continuously bring in clientele that can afford my offer? That's as simple as I can break it. Okay. So the second thing is building a coaching, nutrition, workout system. So that means that whether I build that system for myself right now because I'm a one man or one woman show, or whether I build that for myself and know that's going to expand to other coaches I'm going to hire down the line, what is that system going to look like? So, for example, I had systemized all of the coaching, all of the workouts. I have systemized all of the nutrition. So when a client came in, it took me less than 15 minutes to set them up, because it's very simple to systemize those things while still personalizing. And if you guys are using FitBudd, you can absolutely do that with that too, where you're creating X type of workout, Y type of workout, Z type of workout. And based on what that client is looking for, you specialize for that. So let me give you an example. I had 4 or 5 different workout styles that I knew my clientele liked. So I had a HIIT type 90-day program. I had a weight training 90-day program, the bro split, as we like to call it. I had an at-home for moms with kids that didn't want to go to the gym, and I had one more. And so I would ask them in their onboarding form, how do you prefer to train? And they loved this because they're like, this is awesome. Like they're giving me a choice as to what I like to do and what I don't like to do. Like, this is awesome. I've never gotten this before. They would choose that. I already had that workout system in place. Maybe they had a bad shoulder. Maybe they couldn't do X type of exercise. Maybe Y type of exercise was dangerous for them. I would just adjust that program that I already made based on what they requested, and boom, their program was already ready and I could assign it to them. Right? So that's just one example of systemization that we can build within our own coaching systems that makes things a lot easier to attain. Building accountability, diagnostics, and follow-up systems are also really important. I'll give you one example of this as well, but these are all things that like we teach our clientele, because if you don't have these things, your life's going to be a lot harder, and it's going to be a lot harder to scale. And I assume at least some of you want to scale enough to pass 6 figures or to get to 6 figures. We're all at different levels here. But accountability and diagnostic system, right? So if for example, this is going to happen, right? The human body does this. If your client does great, maybe it's a weight loss, right? A lot of people want weight loss. They lose weight, Then they get to week 3 and they plateau. They get to week 4 and they plateau. They're going to be upset with themselves and maybe with you, okay? Even if you did nothing wrong. So what are other ways that they can measure success? Okay. Is that going to be via their clothes physically? Is that going to be via their strength because they could barely do a push-up on their knees and now they're doing it a full push-up without any kind of assistant? Is it going to be the X and Y exercises that they couldn't do that they can now do? Right? What are different ways of measuring success? Because there's a million different ways of measuring success that we can look at when they're not getting Y result, but they're getting Z result, right? Does this make sense, guys? Because like it's not one results aren't one dimensional. What's their energy level? Like if they were at a 4 before and now they're going to the play park with their kids at 6 p.m. when they get home from work because their energy is a lot better because they're eating good food and they're actually moving more than they used to. So the lethargicness has gone away. That's a win, right? So what can we look at when one area stalls for a little bit and we can work on working on that while we acknowledge other areas to keep your client motivated, which is a huge component of them continuing and seeing results and wanting to re-sign with you, is them staying motivated or inspired enough because they're seeing progress, because human psychology just wants to always see progress. And if we don't feel good. Does that make sense, guys? Just give me a yes and I'll move on to the next one. Makes perfect sense. Okay. Awesome. I got a Y from Todd. I love it. All right, guys. Let's move on to the next one. All right. Then letting people run these systems for you. So in your first level 6 figures, this is really nice. You just need one lead generator, someone who generates your potential clientele, and you need one client fulfillment specialist. You do the so-called sales in the first several 6 figures, right? Because you don't need to take that many sales calls, right? Even if you take, let's say, 8 calls a week, which I mean, it really depends on how warm your potential clientele are to determine how many calls you need to hit multiple 6 figures. That's all you need, right? So that's why this business is beautiful in the sense that you don't have that much overhead, guys, especially for those of you online or even hybrid without your own gym where you're just paying to go into a gym, or maybe you're paying at a low cost, or maybe you're not paying at all. All you need is some software at the beginning, and after that you need the software plus a couple team members to hit multiple 6 figures. There's not a lot of businesses that do that, right? It's just something to acknowledge is most businesses aren't even profitable for many years before they become profitable. The beauty of this business is you're going to become profitable right away if you just do it the right way, right? And consultants. Like for me, I personally hired a lot of coaches because I had literally no idea how to build a business. I had a health science degree, not a business degree. And I just built my own business degree through a lot of my own work, as well as hiring people who were smarter than me at the time to teach me what would have taken me a longer time to learn. So I'm always a big fan of coaches and consultants. Hence why I have been one, and hence why I still to this day hire them, because it's just a way for you to pay to get faster results and collapse time. And to me, time is something you never get back. But money is something that you do. And so just using that in a smart way to get smart, consistent results. Okay, what you don't need. I just went over the salesperson. Salesperson, don't really need an assistant. You don't need ads if you don't want to run ads. And you don't need crazy fancy software. You need a few main pieces of software, which is going to be your coaching platform. You guys are with FitBudd. You're going to need maybe some nutrition stuff, which FitBudd also provides. You're going to need I'm trying to think of like if I use anything outside of that. Maybe you'll use Slack with clientele, but that's free, right? Up to one channel that's free. You can have one-on-ones with them for free. You're going to need Zoom. It's like $15 a month. My whole point is like it's very, very, very low overhead when it comes to the software side of things. Even when you start growing a team, the overhead is going to be relatively low. All right, so lifetime value. if you learn how to provide an incredible service, you will always generate clients from your current clients. Okay. So LTV is a really important component that I didn't consider until years down the line. And I think a lot of us kind of forget because we're like, how can I get more? How can I get new? How can I get more? How can I get new? Instead of how can I sustain the ones that I already have? I give really dumb relationship examples, like the person who like can't figure out relationships. So they keep getting a new girlfriend or boyfriend, a new keep breaking up, and they repeat the same cycle with that same type of mindset over and over again, instead of like, how can I sustain this relationship long term and fix the issues that I currently have so that I can be in a good, loving, long-term relationship with the right person. Super silly, but it applies to this in the sense of like, how can I create the right systems and the right service that makes that person feel motivated and supported and cared for and valued so that they don't go look at that other coach and they don't go look for other services. They want to stay with me, because people who are genuinely happy with you, you know what they do when someone else comes up to them, like, I already have a coach. I'm already good. If they're not happy, they're gonna be like, yeah, so what does your service look like? Like, that's just, I mean, I'm sure we've all done that. But when we're happy, we don't look outside of what we're already happy with because it's fulfilling us. And so that's what you want to provide for your clientele so that they can stay a long time. Because let's say you're charging $1,500 or $2,000 for 90 days, right? Now you have that client staying with you for a year plus. Now you're making $8K a year plus off of one client instead of needing 4 clients in order to do that, right? And so just kind of, food for thought here is, if you can get same number of clients and keep even 80% of the clients that you have, you will triple or quadruple the revenue that's coming into your business. Does that make sense? Does that hit home, guys? Just give me a yes if that's making sense and you're following me. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. What? Someone who said no. What is it that you didn't make sense? How do you scale then? How do you scale in one sense if you have a lifetime value? Because that lifetime value and scaling are two different things, right? So you can maintain the clients you currently have. In order to scale, you need new traffic. So you bring in new traffic while maintaining the clients you already have. So it's not about not getting new traffic. It's about maintaining the traffic you have. So your revenue triples on this side. Still getting the same level of traffic coming. Answer to that question. Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right. Any other questions, just let me know. I'll try to clear it out for you guys. All right. So how do I provide an incredible service? Just real quick, guys, there's some construction going on. Can you guys hear it, or is it clear on your guys' end? I can go inside if you guys hear it. You froze, go inside. It's clear? Okay. If it freezes again, just let me know. I just don't want it to be too loud for anybody. Cool. So best way to provide an incredible service is to ask yourself this. If the only way to get new clients was from my current clients referring me to their friends and family, what would I need to do to make them feel inclined, like they just want to tell their friends about their experience with my company? This is either going to just come to you, or you're going to be like, I'm not real sure. So I'm going to give you guys some hints here. All right. I am going to pause for a sec and ask you guys, what are some things you would do to have this happen? And you can just put it in the chat box, or if you're not shy, you can take yourself off mute and just have a conversation with me. I think you guys can do that. But if so, just let me know, what would you do to make sure that your clients feel inclined to tell their friends and family? Here's a small hint or a comparison. When you tell someone about something, a service, a movie, a therapist, there's a physical therapist, a regular therapist. What is it that you were so called to, that you love, that hit home for you, that made you want to tell them? So how can you apply that into your own business? What would you do to increase the lifetime value of your clientele? Put it in the chat box, or take yourself off mute if you can. solve their specific pain point. So give me an example of what that looks like, Melanie. Give me an example of a pain point and how you would solve that, both in the short and long term. Give them the results fast.
I did raise my hand and you did unmute me. It's Vicky.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Vicky.
Okay, so I would give them a referral bonus to help. That would help them to be more inclined. I would also give them, try to gamify it some kind of way. If they refer more, or if their friend bring a friend, then they can receive something, some type of incentive, maybe some type of swag or supplement or something that I'm offering to enhance, just to give them some type of incentive to want a referral. Plus, of course, giving good service.
Yeah, that's a really great point, and I love that you added that last point at the end, because it's really important. Because my whole idea is here is you can incentivize them. So let's say you had like a, I don't know, physical therapist, and they told you the same thing. But if they didn't heal your pain or your injury, would you still refer them if they were giving you a bonus?
Exactly. So that's why they would have to already be receiving good service and have gotten some type of results working with me first to want to refer someone to me.
Exactly. Amazing. Thanks there, Vicky. And I think that's what's really is yes, we want to incentivize it, and yes, that's important. But I can tell you right now that the referral will never happen if they're not happy. Because people just don't feel morally right doing something like that if they don't feel like they were given the results. I don't think I ever have in a situation. I don't think I've ever had a client like that. So absolutely, with the idea of giving them the results fast on Todd's end, absolutely making sure that they're incentivized on top of being happy with the service on Vicky's end. And those parts are really important. So Melanie says, my client felt very overwhelmed with many trainers and intimidated going to the gym. I structured a program that went at her own pace and helped build her confidence. She now goes to the gym 3 times a week. Top of the year, she wasn't going at all. You have to give them what they want to earn the right to give them what they need. That's also very important. You guys are great today. So this is actually something, what you just said in terms of the quote is something that I talk about in terms of the chocolate covered broccoli effect. So it's the idea of, and this happens a lot in sales conversations, discovery calls, you can call them whatever you want, where you hop onto the call with somebody and they're saying, I want to look this certain way, and I want a big butt, and I want a flat stomach, and I want to be toned or whatever. And you tell them, well, yeah, you got to get this and this and this and this. You have to meet people where they're at to then give them what they need. Oftentimes I'll have clientele that will say, Sarah, I just really want to add a meditation component, a mindset component. And I know that fitness originates in the thinking and how they process this stuff. And so I want to give them that thing that they really need. But we go back to the quote, which is you got to give them what they want or what they think they need before you give them what you know they need. Because oftentimes, and I'm not saying this is always the case, sometimes people will resonate. People come in for the physical result because they want to look a certain way, because they're insecure, because they can't have sex with the lights off with their partner, or lights on with their partner, because they're out of breath and they feel ashamed in front of their kids, whatever it might be, right? So they're like, okay, this is the immediate thing I need. But they don't know, in order to get that thing they need, they have to do X, Y, and Z thing that's almost unsexy. And so you do want to meet that client where they're at before you start introducing these things that they can slowly over time become open to. And so I think Melanie's point was really great. That client's probably going to end up becoming a raving fan, right? Because like she went from I'm too scared of the gym to now I'm going to the gym 3 times a week. That in and of itself has probably substantially increased her self-confidence in the way that she sees herself. And I think that is a mindset component that has been changed in and of itself as a result of working with Melanie. So these things make a big difference. And so I'm going to go back to this so we can kind of dive into some other things in this area that we haven't chatted on. So here are some like direct things. Check-ins, right? I'm gonna give you guys an example of something that I had done with clients a lot, and it was such a small thing that went so far. And it was where, I had at the time clients putting in their macros, the ones who wanted flexible dieting, into MyFitnessPal, and they would do that at random. I would go in there once a week, twice a week, and I would take a look. I'd be like, oh, okay, Vicky's got like, a Miss Vicky's. Vicky's got a Miss Vicky's chips in there. She's got a Mars bar. She got this. I'd be like, oh, what's going on, Vicky? Like, saw you had a couple Mars bars today. And then she'd be like, oh my God, like, you looked at my log, and like they would get very excited because to them they were like, wow, my coach is genuinely caring enough to look at my log, to hold me accountable, to like kind of tease me when I did something I shouldn't have, so to speak. But it's also there to guide me. It's also there to walk me through the different components of things that I need. And so that makes a big difference because it's not about you commenting on their log. It's about doing the little things that go a long way and make someone feel cared for. So I'm going to give another silly relationship example because I think they apply. It's like your partner, they come home and then they fold your laundry for you, or they make dinner for you, or they took out the garbage, whatever. These are little things that go a really long way that show care. And so how can we do that with our clientele? Sending gifts, sending cards, especially like on someone's birthday, making sure that we're making them feel special. Like, oh, wow, like you're making me feel like I'm one of your only clients. Like you're actually remembering these things. Building systems that bring the client results. Obviously, results are a really, really important thing. I think it was Todd who said, bringing in results fast. And he's right about the idea that there's a psychological component to that. Whether we know it's smart to slowly lose weight or whatnot, getting them a win right off the bat. So let's say if someone wants to lose weight, we get them, 4 pounds in their first couple of weeks. I'm just making up a number. They're going to feel excited psychologically to continue because there's a lot of statistics that indicate when people get some level of instant result, whatever that might look like, they are immediately motivated to do more and they become much more committed in doing the things that they need. So if we know that's going to help them, it's going to serve them, it's going to make them happy and continue to keep them happy, why not add some things into our training and nutrition system that will allow for some instant quick wins while the bigger and long-term wins come. Okay. And then doing as much done for you as possible. Okay. DFY. So making their life easier. So this is done for you groceries. So they're not confused about what to get when they're at the grocery store. Done for you workouts, done for you guides. Maybe they have access to Slack or WhatsApp or iMessage, whatever platform you want to use with them, that when they go to the grocery store that they can ask you, they don't have this kind, but they have this kind. Like, should I get it? Like, these are really small things and high ticket programs that no low ticket program will ever do that you guys can provide. And I'm just giving you guys some examples, but like there's a million of these things that we can do that will go a really long way that most programs out there don't even care to think about doing. Okay. Making getting results stupid simple and giving them the level of accountability and support. So one thing that I used to do with it only takes 40 hours if they do as instructed. Todd's got this down. One of the things that I used to do with clients is I would hop on a weekly call. So they would get typically I would hop on 30-minute calls with them. And I think that was one of the biggest value pieces. We would talk about their workouts, what they like, what they didn't like. We talk about the actual program, but then they would they would talk about their kids. They would talk about their work. They would talk about, what was hard for them that week. They would talk about what we could do and integrate into their life as a whole to make things easier for them. And they loved that. They loved that because we're going above and beyond to integrate that lifestyle into their already life. And most people won't do that. And that makes them feel a level of connection that they will never feel with just an app, that they will never feel with just this low ticket program that can go a very, very long way. Melanie says, my clients talk about their lives a lot to me, and we speak about how to overcome those hurdles in the future. Yeah, exactly. It was the exact same on my end. And a lot of times I used to have a binge restrict disorder back in the day, and when I healed that, I talked about it a lot via social, and so I attracted a lot of those clientele, and we developed mechanisms to help them heal those. And there was a lot of things that we would talk about in terms of difficulties and marks for improvement. That's really important, having more than just one mark for improvement, like not just weight loss, not just muscle gain, like what are the different things that they also care about, and even doing that in the assessment. Okay, so we're on this call. Awesome. So this is how this works. We're going to consistently see, I'm just going to make this up. We're going to consistently see weight loss throughout this entire process, Nancy. But the way that the body works is there's going to be times in different areas that we're going to get to where there are going to be plateaus. And that's okay, because the total natural part of this entire process. You're going to see big peaks, and then you're going to see some valleys. But overall, we're on a consistent peak of improvement. But what I would love to do is to see, other than the weight loss, which I know is the most important, we're going to make sure we get there. What are some other ways that you would like to mark your success? So would it be, I know you told me your energy was at a 3. What if we can get that to an 8? I know you mentioned that like you can barely walk up the hill and you kind of feel out of breath. What if you walk up the entire hill that we just talked about and you feel great? Like, how would that feel? And you give them examples of things that they talked about that are important to them outside of just that one component, because there's always more things. And then you mark those down. And then you use those as ways to help them stay motivated throughout, that they otherwise might lose touch with their own progress. We all do that. We lose touch with our own progress throughout these things. Instead of being able to see, I still do this. I've been in fitness since I was a little kid. I still do this. So what do we think about someone who just got into it, who's been struggling with it? So helping them with those is a big one. Does that make sense, guys? Just give me a yes if this is somewhat, hopefully, hitting home and helpful. Just give me a yes if so. I love your whys, Todd. Okay. Awesome. Let's continue here. I'm talking too much, and I don't know how far. I gotta go a tiny bit faster to make sure we hit time. I'm getting into it with you guys. It's all good. So the more clients stay, the more profitable your business becomes. So less hours for lead generation staff, less marketing dollars as you grow, less rush to get to the next sale, because you have what is a beautiful thing, which is recurring revenue with people who are absolute raving fans. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't grow. That doesn't mean you shouldn't bring in more leads. But if you take care of this component, you will never struggle with, there will be months where there'll be inconsistencies in sales, because that's business. Even if you have the best lead generation system in the world, even if you have, the best team in the world, whatever it might be, you're going to have months like that. But if you have that recurring revenue coming in on the months where things like that happen, it won't even be a worry in the world. And that's a very important thing. And that will compound with time in and of itself. Because every single time you bring on a new client and your lifetime value is 1 year, that client is worth $8,000 a year or more, right? And so now you're like, oh, my clients aren't worth $2,000 anymore. Their lifetime value is $8,000. So every time I bring in another client, I'm technically increasing my revenue every year. It's a compound interest in a way. Okay. All right. 3 pillars of a business led by Life Design. So the first one is the high ticket offer. The second one, what we talked about, was leveraging systems. And the third one is LTV, lifetime value. I've drilled this home, so I won't dive into it too much anymore. So the idea of just raising your standards. So the difference in the outcome is dependent on our ability to maximize. So leaders are what transform organizations. And a leader is someone that has higher standards of themselves than anybody else even has of them. And I just want to touch on this just because I just don't know a single business leader who hasn't at some point or consistently throughout struggled with this. I think we all do. And then as business leaders, we do even more. And it's the idea of comparison. So if you are comparing yourself to anybody else, the only reason they have more money than you, more fame than you, more success than you, more successful relationships than you, whatever it might be, is because they've turned their shoulds into musts. And if something is a must, you will get it done. So it's not like, if I don't do this, then I'll do this. It's almost like preparing for failure. The idea of like, if I don't get here, then, I'll go get a job. Or if I don't, for me, and people will ask me all the time, well, how did you do it? And I was like, I just didn't have a backup plan. Like, it was just, I know I will make this work no matter what. And so if it didn't happen within some time frame that I pretentiously set up for myself, it didn't matter. Because now what's the next thing I got to do to get that thing? And so the idea isn't if you're going to get that thing. The idea is I will as long as I don't give up. That's it. In my opinion, and the way I see things, it's that black and white. And when I see people give up or not want to, or whatever the reason is because they feel that they failed. And so they make that transition instead of just pivoting. And I think all we need is a number of pivots after multiple falls to be able to get to that next level. All right. So this is just the idea of setting the standards low a long time ago, and we losing our standards completely as time goes on. So I always have this an idea that setting your standards so high that you can't achieve it until you turn into the person that you can, and just have this as a quote because I think it is so insanely accurate. Because so often, in order to achieve whatever goal that we have, you have to change certain aspects of yourself to become the person that's going to be able to achieve that thing. And in the process of doing that one step at a time, you're able to figure that out as long as you know that that's what you want, despite anything else. All right. So now, if you are looking to grow your business online and offline, there are a few paths to get there. One is just figuring it out on your own, doing trial and error, all of that good stuff. I've always told you I've been a massive fan of coaching and consulting because I think I know I wouldn't have been here today had it not been for any of that stuff. My degree was not in business, and I think that life experience in and of itself is a lot better than the degrees. But one is just doing those things, trying to figure it out, doing a lot of trial and error, and sometimes that takes years. Or it's just working with someone, whether it's myself or it's someone else that will get you to that next level. And that's really important because it can take, here's just 2 years of me trying to get to the next stage of my financial success and having an extremely difficult time versus here's the person who will help me with the exact path that I personally need to get to that next level. Okay. Because one thing to know is there's no blueprint. If you talk to anybody who says, here's the blueprint to get, this much amount of money, which I'm sure we all get those ads, there's literally does not exist. There's just only the blueprint that exists for you that's going to fit your lifestyle. And the goal of myself or any other coach is to make sure that we figure out the blueprint that works best and most comfortably for you. So you're not going into burnout and you're able to achieve things at the level that you want to. So these are some testimonials from clientele that we've worked with. At this point, I've worked with over 1,000 different coaches in the fitness space, in the health space, even in the different coaching like mindset and therapy and meditation, all that kind of stuff. And so you can just kind of see here for yourself, clients making $15,000 in 6 weeks, 7K in a week, 20K club, 11.5. So you just a couple pages of these, but we have a lot of these that we've worked with. And so it's just plugging in the right system for the right client to bring them the clients that they're looking for and be able to achieve the financial freedom that they're looking for at the same time while doing that, which can sometimes be hard when you start as a coach and you got to figure out all these other things. So if you are open to it, if my style resonates with you, because I think at some point you guys get an idea of how I teach and my personality, you guys can just book a call. I will put the link in the chat, and we can talk about your business, where you're at right now, how you would like to grow, and then what it would look like if we both decide to work together. So I just put that in there. Aishwarya also put it in there so you guys can check either of those. One of them leads to the direct calendar. The other one goes into a landing page and you can book a call from there. So you can click mine if you want to just go to the direct calendar. And Aishwarya put in my Instagram if you guys want to follow along. Any, before we continue or end off the webinar, any thoughts, questions, comments, or maybe something I didn't see that I didn't address for you guys? Or did you, Aishwarya, want to do an announcement before we do that?
Yeah, before we jump into the questions, let me quickly introduce FitBudd to those of you who joined late and don't have access to the platform yet. In summary, FitBudd helps you grow your fitness business with the power of your own branded app. Our platform is the only tool you'd ever need to seamlessly run your fitness business and build a robust digital brand. For those interested in experiencing FitBudd firsthand, we offer a 30-day free trial. To explore more, please schedule a demo with our team using the link that we've already provided in the chat. And now over to you, Sarah, for the Q&A sessions.
Awesome. All right. So I think if there's any other questions, please send them over to me. If you would like to book a one-on-one call to see if we'd like to work together, please just click on the Calendly link. And for now, I'm just going to answer a few questions. Jonathan says she definitely should have been taking notes. All good. There'll be a replay, so don't worry about it. So a lead generator is somebody who creates leads for you. So people who bring in potential clientele, people who would potentially want to work with you. And so what you do is you hire someone on the platform that you want to generate leads on, whether that is via email marketing, whether that is via social media, be it Instagram, be it TikTok, be it Facebook community, whether that is paid advertising, whether that is shout outs on Instagram, whether that is collaboration. There's so many ways to bring in leads, which wasn't the purpose of this webinar, hence why we didn't dive into it. We've dove into it deep on other webinars. But the lead generator is the person who helps you turn potential clients into calls so that hopefully you can bring them onto your program. What is a customer specialist? I'm not sure if I said customers. Did I say customer specialist somewhere? I'm not sure. Let me know where you saw that, and I can probably answer that question, but I'm not sure if I said customer specialist. I'm trying to look through the slides, but yeah, let me know. I think I meant, I said you need 2 hires, and I think you got one of them, which was the lead generator. It was the second one was someone who does fulfillment. So someone who, and this is once you're past 6 figures and you can't handle this yourself, is the person who takes care of your clients, whether that's updating their programs, whether that's doing their one-on-one calls, whether that's helping them with progressive overload, doing all of the things that are included in client fulfillment is what you want to do. How did you transition from owning a gym to going online? I'm at the point where I owned a gym, had hundreds of clients, made a decision to cease operations, and now I'm looking at going solely online. I would love to hear a bit quickly of what that looked like for you. Awesome. To be honest, I hired a coach. I hired a coach because I had no idea how to do it at that time. And I hired a coach who at that time was specialized in online client lead generation, because getting clients in person and getting clients online are 2 completely different things. And getting clients online, if you don't have the right system, are in a way much harder than in-person sales. Because in person, when I was doing that in person, I was converting 80%, 90%. It was very high, because by the time someone actually came to the gym, did the consultation, put in the time and effort to come and see me, they were already bought in enough, because they just drove out, came and saw me, did the assessment, did trial training sessions. And so converting for me was a lot easier because of that. Once I went online, I didn't have that component. So I struggled. I had a 2-year period where I struggled. And I ended up going and working for a gym, and then hired a coach. With that money that I earned, I then hired a coach who specialized in online training. And he taught me exactly what I needed to do in terms of the sales angle, in terms of the lead generation angle, in terms of attracting the right type of clientele, and all the things that I needed in order to go fully online. And I followed that model alongside what I always recommend is like, yes, follow the model of the coach that you hire to work with, that you trust. But I also did a lot of my own research. Like, what are other online coaches are doing? What does that look like? Let me creep into their communities. I even made fake Facebook accounts just to join their communities to see what they were doing. And so my idea is, be curious. Look at your competitors. What ads are they running? What are the angles? What are the different things they're doing in terms of copy? What's converting? What isn't? What are potential clients saying? What are the testimonials saying? I knew everything about my competitors on top of working with somebody. And so I think those things in combination together really helped me take off once I made that transition. How long do you work with clients that book with you? It's typically at least 90 days. So we start for 90 days. That gives us enough time to go into all the different areas that we need to, depending on where that client is at. So if we're beginning somewhere, we're going all the way from like, who's my ideal client, to what are the systems that we're building now? How do we build predictable systems to bring in consistent, highly qualified leads? If I'm on X platform, what do I need to do on this platform to make sure it is the most effective and will get the most responses? So is that via email? Is that via social media? Is that via, we want to run paid ads? So we decide to pick that platform based on what the client wants. And once we choose that platform, we optimize it for the best success. And depending on conversion skills, sales skills, then we coach through, how do we make sure your conversion rate now goes from 10% to 60% so that you can close triple the amount of deals that you're doing from where you're at. And we solve one issue at the time until they get to their set goal of whatever we set together at the very beginning of the program. Awesome. Perfect. I believe that is all of the questions for now. If you would like to dive into your business, you can just hit the Calendly link. If not, just shoot me a message if you want any questions that might come up after. And then this is recorded. So if you didn't take notes and you wanted to, you can absolutely go ahead and do that. And I will put the Calendly link in here one more time for anybody who wants it. I hope that was helpful, guys. And we will see you guys next month in next month's webinar.
Thank you all for joining us today. We'll be back soon, as Sarah just mentioned, and the replay will be available soon. Look out for the link in your registered emails. Have a great day.